This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020. Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Governor Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, BGB Ranch. This is your five-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, our restaurant of virtual cuisine about California politics, where the main entree is always the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. We're proud to be here tonight on 790 KABC. Remember, call in at 1-800-222-5222. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got our head chef, Oren Heatley, in studio with me. Not quite in studio. I'm accompanied tonight by Carrie Kasem and Eric Early because we need all the help we can get. Oren, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. We're looking for you guys on our Zoom feed because we are also streaming this out live to Facebook via Zoom tonight. This is a test run, and we're really happy to bring this new service to the team.
That's right. We're trying to fuse cuisines, as we call it, and get the podcast going that we've had so much request for. Eric is actually here. He's having a little technical difficulties with his camera, but he can say hi.
Great being with you guys again tonight.
Eric.
Yes.
Since I know we need a cashier right now, and I know as a lawyer you're used to taking money, do you mind taking something tonight? Well, I mean, let's get real about it.
Many people enter the law profession because they're not that good with math, and I'm one of them. But if you need a cashier tonight, I will do my best.
So remember, when you give Eric a $100 bill and Oren's bill is $75, Eric pretty much is going to keep it all, like most attorneys. I had to bring it up. That's been my experience.
Oren, should I start talking to Mike about what defamation means, or should I?
You know what? I think we need to have a long discussion about that with Mike.
Carrie, it's a delight to have you as special hostess, if you will, on the restaurant tonight.
Well, thank you so much. I like what you're serving.
I'm glad you do. Yeah. You've really got quite a lineage. And tell the audience a little bit about yourself. We have a lot of regular listeners.
Sure.
Most are familiar with your last name, but not who you are.
Well, I'm a radio host. I've been doing talk radio for 23 years. My father was Casey Kasem, still is Casey Kasem. He's just not in a body. And then I believe he watches over me. He's my angel. So, yeah, I've been, people say, oh, it's in your blood. My dad did music, right? And he was on the radio, but I've been doing talk. And I've done some music shows where you talk in between, especially one with Nikki Sixx called The Sixth Sense. So we were on iHeartRadio for 5 years. And I got to tour with Motley Crue and got to just interview the most incredible musicians. And I had a blast.
It's interesting. You really have quite the social media following when I looked at this week, too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it finally came back. I was censored and completely shut down for my beliefs and what I put out there. But I just want to say, too, it says on my Zoom, I don't know if you guys can see me, it says across my face, you are in a practice session. So I hope you guys can see me out there. I'm just going to wave. But
yeah. Mine is saying waiting with the thing going round and round on it.
So ask me, I'm sorry, Mike, ask me that again. I just looked at myself. There we go.
That's okay. That's why as I say we're fusing cuisines. We're trying to put radio with video. And for those out there, it's not as easy as it sounds. We have about 4 people working on it tonight. But more importantly, out over the airwaves, there are literally thousands of listeners all the way from Oregon, literally to Florida and back listening to us streaming. So but go back to your social media following that you have.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. I was talking about I was censored for the last few months. I hope I don't become censored again. But I finally got my social media up and running again. But I couldn't boost anything. I couldn't go live.
Why were you censored?
For my beliefs, anything that I was different than what the media was trying to sell you. I got completely shut down.
What's happening to this country?
Well, I'll tell you what shut me down. I posted something from the CDC, not my opinion. I said, here are the numbers from the CDC. People were freaking out. I said, here's what they are. I just posted a screenshot from the CDC. They shut my entire account down.
Well, that's probably the best reason for censorship I've ever heard, since I don't believe a word the CDC says. But other than that, I think censorship is just, it's out of control right now.
It's communism.
Yes, it is.
That's what it is.
That is exactly what it is.
But today you're back to like what, 54,000 or something? Or?
Depending on what you're looking at. On my Facebook, my public Facebook is like 130,000, and then I have, I don't know, what do I on my Instagram I have almost 100,000, and
Something like that.
And then I got rid of my Twitter, and I have my private Facebook page, which I keep it lower than 5,000. So if people want to come and go, they can.
You know, it's interesting. We talked a couple of weeks ago, Oren and I on the air, and Eric, I don't remember if you were on that show or not. I don't know if you're aware of Judicial Watch had published papers they got under the Freedom of Information Act. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist because I know they're after us, as I put it. It's not paranoia.
Right.
You know they're after you.
Right.
They actually issued 504 pages talking about how Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and these folks literally had an open portal with the Secretary of State. You saw that?
I did see that, but they've also been caught so many times. I mean, Congress, and right in front of Congress, they got Mark Zuckerberg admitting it, kind of. And, you know, and his whole people came out and said, look, this is what we're doing. We are conspiring together to do this. And now it's coming out even more.
What really scares me, and we focus on California here because, Eric, as we talk about all the time, and Oren, what we talk about all the time is the scary part, how our state is doing it. The state of California is literally acting like a state nation, suppressing so many things that we're doing. In fact, Oren, you might want to throw in a little bit talking about how they're even trying to challenge our extension right now.
Absolutely, and Eric is well versed in the latest attempts. So we have a young lady in Carmichael, California, who filed an appeal with the Third Appellate Court in Sacramento to try and work the recall as a whole, to challenge the extension that we were given, where the Secretary of State himself opted not to argue the case in court and to basically allow it to go forward without any opposition. But this person here in Carmichael, California, feels that they have a better case than the Secretary of State and is challenging the recall extension.
It's fascinating. It really is how, and we keep saying this all the time. And remember, we're a listener-sponsored show, everybody out there. What we're leading up to is people ask continuously, we need money to keep the show on the air, and we need money to fight the tide of obstacles are going to come across in this revolution, quite honestly, that we're doing by recalling Gavin Newsom, really threatening Gavin's regime.
And Mike
and Oren,
can I start the night off with an early delivery?
Okay, but before you do, I don't want to scare our special in-studio guests. Let me explain to her what it is.
Okay.
So you know how when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings?
Sure.
When Oren serves it up, okay, that's because we've gotten a donation. So Oren, you have an order up.
I do. I want to ring the bell for Mark in Los Angeles, California.
Right,
and Mark, thank you very much for your generous donation.
And that's what we do when donations come in. We talk to Oren. Oren basically order up in our virtual restaurant here. Listen, everybody out there, we've got a show tonight. One of the things we want to focus in, we try to focus on a few issues each week, is the issue of how California has ignored and is not keeping good supervision over what's happening to all of us. And I hate to admit this, we're getting older. And as we get older, it really is the responsibility of the state a lot to oversee convalescent homes. And I really just wish they'd watch out, Carrie, I'm going to roll this to you. They'd watch out for us as we get older, as much as they tend to watch over swaths of the population that aren't even citizens yet.
Right. It's really sad. I mean, I've been working as an anti-elder abuse advocate for 7 years now, and I've gone across the country putting bills in place that curbs elder abuse, not stops it. But you'd think that they and when I say they, like the legislators would want protection as they get older, protection from fraudulent guardianships, from disgusting, despicable nursing homes, with the worst of the worst care. I've seen the most disgusting things. I can't even tell you, I can't even share it. It's so awful what I've seen. This is where we are all going to get old. Nobody, I mean, God willing, we're all going to get old, right? And if you end up needing to be in one of these homes or needing a guardian, which I don't think that all needs to be reformed, but God forbid you get stuck in a subpar facility or with a abusive guardian, you're in trouble, in big trouble. Doesn't matter how much money you have, by the way. You can fight it all the way. They use your own money against you once you're in guardianship.
And there's lots of scary parts to it, especially as my dad didn't have a guardian and died in one of those homes too. And we talked a few weeks ago, as you know, Orrin, about literally how Newsom had taken a donation. This woman had a picture with Newsom. We'll get into that story later. And has opened 9 homes under investigation and basically gotten rich off the backs of our elders and the really poor port, which has been going on for years. And Eric, it's funny how our attorney general never, ever comes up and defends the elderly in our state. We have 100,000 people in convalescent homes right now that nothing's done about. Eric, 30 seconds before we go to break.
Well, we have an attorney general of the state that is a stooge for Gavin Newsom. And the last thing this clown, that's his title, attorney general, but he might as well just be stooge general. Okay? He's not investigating anything. We need a new attorney general. We need an entire new regime up there to protect the citizens of California.
We absolutely do. Orrin, we're hoping you get the chance to bring order up here again. We're going to roll the break. We're going to take a caller from Florida next, because literally it is Friday nights at the French Laundry, all the way from the Oregon border on the way down to the international border and streaming around the country. KABC 790, contribute, help us, recall Gavin2020.com.
You don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers. Just tell them. Dependable traffic
so, Orrin, it's looking good out there.
In the Glendale area.
It is going great. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Very good. I think it's working to some extent.
Yes, we don't have any attendees right now because we didn't make an announcement. We spent all afternoon testing.
And you know what? That's fine. I think that if we work it this way, it's working so far. So can you see, what are you seeing on your screen right now?
So on Facebook Live right now, we are seeing the grid array. What we need to see.
You're seeing which?
We are seeing the grid array view, which we need to see.
Okay, so what I'm looking at right now is Mike Netter and Casey talking in studio.
What do you think?
Yeah.
The effect of all those newly printed dollars?
So that's fine.
Then Susan and I and Casey are.
But if you go to public forum right now and look for my recent post, you should see the grid array.
I can't do that. I don't have
right. Exactly. Okay.
I'm just wondering. So if I click on Susan,
you can have it delivered securely or privately to your home, or even put real
gold
and silver in your IRA.
I just clicked on Susan and pinned her. Now is she on the larger screen?
No, you're only going to pin her on your own screen.
Only on my screen. So
correct.
I'm not.
The Oxford Gold Group sells.
No. Right now, Susan and myself are the host and co-host.
928 Gold.
Okay.
They will answer all your questions and send you their precious metals investments.
But I mean, on Facebook Live right now, we're seeing the grid array view. So we're seeing all the hosts and the guests right now.
We do have some big news.
Okay.
Starting Monday, Dan Bongino.
So I think it'd be great during the show if, like, when Mike's talking, click on Mike, pin him. When Carrie talks, click on her, pin her. The best we can. We won't be able to keep up with it.
Right.
Conversation. Mike talks so long.
Well, all right, guys, going back on air.
We got a little time.
Well, welcome back to Friday Nights at the French Laundry. You know what we're about. And we're heard all over the country, believe it or not, streaming as we talk about how we need to change California. Because let's face it, if you're out there in any state, if we don't change California, we know where this nation's going, right, folks? We've got Avery from Florida who does know me, and he wants to talk a little bit about free speech. Avery, how are you doing?
Well, good evening to you guys out there, way on the West Coast. I'm way down here on the East Coast in Western Florida.
And it's late for you, Avery. We appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, I had to set the alarm or something like that. I do have my laundry done, however, so don't worry about that.
One step ahead of me, Avery.
For sure.
Avery, free speech is I've talked to you before, and as we said, they're suppressing it in California just through the use of social media, which is why we always tell people to help us sponsor the radio show. It's one of the last platforms that big entities can't really step in on. Tell us in a couple minutes about your vision for free speech down in Florida. I know you probably don't have as much issues with social media, or maybe you do down there.
Well, no, we don't. In fact, Ron DeSantis is our hero. Have you heard this? Have you seen the new cap, ball cap? It says Trump / DeSantis, make America more like Florida. I haven't seen that one, have you? Anyway, yes, Florida is much freer in general. We did a great job with COVID because of our governor, and we've gotten out earlier. There's no one wearing a mask in church, in our grocery store, you name it. Our schools are all back in session 100%. There they are a little cautious with masks, but we know the facts down here too. We haven't been misled by Biden or CDC or Fauci. So all of that is part of free speech, actually, knowing all the facts.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems fascinating that, I don't know, did COVID make a deal with DeSantis? Or I know they made a deal in California. I said this before, apparently unionized, because this just in, I said this last week, it's not new news, but apparently the COVID virus unionized to California and agreed to leave the state on June 15th. Did it agree earlier? But Florida hasn't had a big raid. You've been open. There's been no big raging issues down there, right? Your schools are open.
Well,
you're eating lobster that only to cook.
Early on, we were cautious, of course, but once we got the facts, follow the science. What a bunch of baloney that was, put it mildly. They didn't know science. They don't even know how to spell science, let alone follow the science.
Yep.
And I have to say, I'm so sorry. I live half the time in Florida and half the time out here. They know how to follow the science in Florida. When somebody says it's less than 1% death rate, people don't get angry there. They're happy. Like, that's wonderful. Out here, you say that, people get angry.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
The people in California, many of them reacted like, what do you mean? People aren't dying? And they're like, well, I kind of thought that was a good thing. Maybe I'm glad it wasn't.
They're still dying. And I'm like, but what about the car accidents? And what about cancer? And what about there's still AIDS around? And what about, what? People die every day. It's a horrible thing. Yeah, nobody wants to die, but it happens.
Yeah,
and it's a less than 1% rate. And people out here get angry when you say that. And in Florida, they're smiling.
And Avery, when your governor and when the Texas governor came out, 2-3 months ago, said we're opening everything up. You know what?
That's right.
You know what the Ken Doll's reaction was? He wrote it.
No.
He said, absolutely reckless.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kept us, he kept us locked down for a couple more months. And in his absolutely reckless manner, he continued destroying small businesses. He continued destroying people's jobs. He continued destroying another several months of our kids' education, and on and on and on.
Yeah,
he's got the worst
restaurant
in the world.
just last night. I'm interrupting you. Just Tuesday night, I was in a restaurant, and it was over by the beach. And in fact, there must have been 2 or 3 levels to this restaurant. It was jammed. I had to wait 40 minutes.
Love that.
And every table was full. It wasn't marked off or quarantined or only 25% or you name it. The place was jammed.
Orrin, you want to weigh into Florida? Do you have something to say from the kitchen for us?
I think that Gavin had referred to, or somebody referred to the fact that it was Neanderthal, the way that they wrote.
That was the quote unquote president of the United States, Orrin.
Yeah,
that said
that. And yep. So,
Mr.
Gavin
Biden
in the last week, he has come out and he's done a whole bunch of stuff, with the 76,000 inmates that he's pledged to release halftime earlier than they should be prematurely. He is pushing to do a whole bunch of stuff. And, people are pouring money into his campaign, and as he is dumping our tax dollars down the drain.
Yeah. Well, when you run in a recall election, one of the unfortunate things is Newsom, as the guy in office, there are no donation limits for his campaign. And yet the Republicans or anybody running against him is subject to campaign limits.
And I'm going to
just like
go ahead, Orrin.
Gavin cannot buy his way out of this predicament that he's put himself in, and all of the money in the world will not cure the problems that we have in California.
So true.
We have to spend what we have wisely, and he's already squandered billions, tens of billions of dollars of our taxpayer money, and we will never get that back. It's gone forever, folks. $31 billion with the EDD scandal, with the unemployment scandal, giving that money over to the prisoners. And mind you, he gave that money over to many of the prisoners who he has pledged to release prematurely in the coming month.
What's interesting here when we talk about, Avery, thank you for calling. We practice a lot of our own free speech on this show. We'll talk to you soon, brother. I know you're still hanging on the line. Avery is very big on letting us express ourselves, which is, again, why we do this radio show. Avery, you want to give us anything to plug here? I know you're setting up a website.
Working on a free speech campaign. Am I still there?
You still are. We can still hear you.
Okay, great. I just heard a beep. Sorry. Working on a free speech campaign. I'm sort of an independent researcher here of free speech. I've learned an awful lot over 6 months. I found, here's some discoveries that I found along the way here. Most people know what free speech is, of course. They're doing it all the time. In fact, some people speak too much. But most people do not know the other 4 rights contained in the First Amendment.
Hey, Avery? We've got a couple minutes left, and I want to get to a few subjects. I'd like to have you back on. You and I have talked a few times. The main thing I want to get across from you tonight is this. There are good people coast to coast, from Florida to California, and in every state, fighting for our right to simply express ourselves. Right, Avery?
Yes, for a fact. There's just so many examples of abuses.
Right. And when we talk in California, and it's interesting why I asked you didn't have as much problem with social media out there, and of course we get a little off track. It's very fascinating that you have a different governor. We share the same social media, right? We're on the same Facebook platform, but I know for a fact, or pretty much, that your state has not an established kind of a secret service of social media oppression, like has been definitely a fact that we've had in California, and that's just wrong. The state of California should not be collaborating with different big tech platforms to keep our opinions suppressed. And it's funny how it seems your opinion's much more free in Florida than it is in California. Avery, thank you much for
calling. That would be one of the efforts that we'd take on if we could get a free speech campaign going, is those sorts of abuses, and we'd expose them.
Absolutely. And what we want to do is, the First Amendment is a vital right that we have. Avery, thank you for calling. Look forward to talking to you soon, my friend. All right? Okay. I wanted to bring up something that Orrin brought up here before we roll to break that's really important, okay? That kind of goes with the theme of our show tonight, that I want you to think about while you hear some commercials. His Gavinness, if you will, King Gavin, out of the billions of dollars in the state, has earmarked $5 million, yes, only $5 million for a master plan for aging and $15 million for study Alzheimer's for operations. This is per the budget. 5 and 15 million. Not a lot out of the alleged $72 billion surplus that we have. Yet Mr. Hastings, who runs Netflix, worth billions of dollars, instead of taking $3 million, allocating it to a charity or source, has elected just today to give it to the cause to stop the recall of Gavin Newsom. And Mr. Hastings, I'm going to kind of call you out a little bit right now for that. Let me tell you something. We really would like California politics to be run by the people of California, not by rich people coming. If you got an extra $3 million to give, I would ask that you give it maybe to the study of aging, because apparently Gavin can only afford to put $15 million of the budget.
Well, he's given a lot of it to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry too. So you have to. There's only so much to go around for the people here, Mike.
Yeah, what we've advertised before, and I'm going to say this again before we roll to break, is this. Look, if you're paying for Netflix monthly, who won't put our documentary on, and he supports the other side, cancel it and just give 50% of that monthly to the recall. Help keep us on the air. And I got to tell you what, if you really don't need that $600 or a full portion of it that Gavin is doling, as we said before, donate it to the recall so you can actually make money the capitalistic way. Donate to recallgavin2020.com. Cancel your Netflix subscription. I'm going to say it on the air right now because it's time we supported our freedoms in the state. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry. KABC. I hear the ding. We're going to get back to the ding after the break. I like that. 790 KABC. Friday nights at the French Laundry, up and down the coast, throughout the country. RecallGavin2020.com.
Breathers, just tell them it's important to follow all the law. How any violation might kill a grandma.
AM 790.
KABC News at 7:30. I'm Sharon Reardon. Good evening. Los Angeles
Looking
County
good.
will follow the state's lead on June 15th.
Yeah.
The majority of COVID-19 restrictions, while continuing to push more people to get vaccinated, some restrictions will remain in place.
Are you guys there?
Yeah, looking really good out there.
We're
I
here.
have to. I can hear you.
Yes.
Hey.
Trial on
I have to say that the real estate value of KABC just went up a notch.
I'm sure. You know, Oren, I looked at the CalAccess site tonight for donations submitted to stop the Republican recall. For the donations filed, the report filed on April 30th, more than half those people get down not working, unemployed, not working.
Or getting involved in their local
communities.
When it comes to serving you, now
okay, so they're donating to Gavin's?
Oh yeah.
Because they don't want to go back to work, or they're too rich, they don't have to work.
This evening, partly
No.
with a 20% chance of
No, I don't think that's it.
partly cloudy and sunny with highs and
Very interesting.
for the inland
What to
and
do?
areas. Currently it's 63 degrees in
That's just for the report submitted April 30th.
has news stories
And for occupation, it's not employed.
Link to listen live online.
Wow.
Check it out now.
I'm gonna go back to the prior reports. It's gonna take a while though.
For more, Friday night at the French Laundry.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Join me every Sunday at 3 p.m. for delicious conversation.
So far so good. I think this is working, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's making some funny like little gestures there, like and stuff like that. But
What's up, my
I know we carry on the break, between the break.
yes,
Right now.
And then whenever Mike's talking, I guess I can unmute and we can carry on the show.
Everything's been blocked for
Yeah.
time. Traffic is pretty.
He probably muted himself. Let's see.
no, I muted Mike.
And north side, you may also see some delays.
So whenever Mike is muted, I can just mute
This
myself from the radio
101 freeway southbound near Parkway.
and come back to you guys, and we
Yeah.
carry it on live
Exactly.
here.
And then you carry back on over with the radio station right after.
Eric, I think we should put your last name in here,
That's a good idea.
which I can do.
Awesome.
Dependable traffic. I'm Richard.
Is
All
there?
right.
listen
Sounds like
to the-
commercial's almost over.
If you owe the IRS,
No, we got a little more time.
Recorded though, right, Tim?
don't kid yourself.
What's that?
Fear from the
The
IRS.
commercial is being recorded, correct?
Yes, everything is being recorded right now, and we're live on Facebook right now.
We're on-
You ever-
where are we live on Facebook?
We are live on Public Forum as well as my page.
On the public forum?
We went straight for the.
Recording.
We're going
looks
for the
great.
gold.
It
Yeah.
looks great.
I've been sharing it to all the groups.
All right, folks. So just so you know, you are on the test run of the Friday nights at the French Laundry Show with Mike Netter, Susan Hurd, and Tim Holiday. We have guests in the studio. We have Carrie Kasem and Eric Early along with us to give us some commentary. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. This is our first one. We are bridging technologies and we're merging the ability to stream live to Facebook with the radio show. And we're hoping it works out well for us and you as well. So,
Swabs who hate American freedom right now.
Dan Bongino live.
and here we go.
Starting Monday on AM 790 AABC.
All right, folks, enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Orrin Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome, political fans, to our virtual restaurant of politics and California cuisine, where we're cooking Gavin's goose. I love to say that every time, and I'm going to do this at some point, so I'm going to do it now. Gavin, whether you like it or not, it's on the ballot. Orrin, I understand you've got an order up or two.
You know what? I do. I have an order up or five. We have Heather from Simple Crossing, Benicia. Welcome and thank you so much for your generous donation. We have June from Los Angeles. God bless. Thank you as well. Deborah, Orange County. Thank you for your generous donation. We have Tom from Walnut, California. I don't know where Walnut is. I know where Walnut Grove is. I know where Walnut
I know where
Creek
Walnut is,
I
Orrin.
don't know where Walnut is.
I'll take care of that. That's Southern California. Orrin,
Oh, very good.
This half of the state.
Diane had an especially generous donation from Half Moon Bay. Diane, thank you so much for joining us. All of these donations have come in the last 5 minutes.
Wow.
Michael from Thousand Oaks, God bless. Thank you so much. And one more, we have Valerie from Cloverdale. And folks, you know you need to give your residence address, not a P.O. box, when you're making donations. But God bless you so much, and thank you for your generous donations. You are helping keep the lights on. You're helping keep the momentum going forward. You folks know that Gavin Newsom has gotten an infusion of cash from Netflix today. He is going to win the financial battle. Okay, there's more money. There are more 1%ers. There are more rich billionaires and tech tycoons that are going to back this governor. We understand that, but we have the power of the people backing us, and we are the ones who are with the power moving forward, and we control the direction of the politics in the state, not them. The people of California are not the underdogs, and we will not be put down lightly.
And remember, if it's worth fighting for, it's worth funding. And that's why we say this, because this, my friends, was done by the people of California. This wasn't done by the Republicans. Thanks for the warning. This wasn't done by the Republicans. Oh, and by the way, you look rather spiffy tonight. You look more like the head chef than the cook. I like the way.
And cheers to you, Michael.
Well, thank you, brother.
They fear the people.
They do fear the people.
That Reed Hastings fears the people. Everyone knows Silicon Valley heads that's pumping hundreds of thousands or millions into Newsom. They fear the people.
It's fascinating, isn't
And
it?
Newsom hates the people, frankly. He could care less about the people.
He
Yeah.
is one of the rich elitists. Let's
Yes.
face it.
No, he is. And I have to say, when Gavin sent out all these letters about it is the extreme right wing, it is the Trumpers that are doing this to me. And, you know, it backfired. I had so many friends that said, I didn't vote for Trump and I'm not a Trumper and I'm not extreme right wing and I don't like what you're doing. And now you're calling me names. So, I mean, it was just such a backfire. So many of my friends said that to me. He really doesn't have his finger on the pulse of the people.
He never
or
had
reality.
it. He just glided into that job, and this is the first time in his political life he's actually had to fight politically, and he can't handle it. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
No, it's
Jerry, on your note, what you said is exactly right. This is Orrin Heatley talking to us.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. And I got a call from a mayor, unnamed mayor of a Democrat mayor of a predominant city in Southern California today, asking for our help to push an initiative forward where he and two Democrat legislators were thwarted in their effort to overturn SB 9. SB 9 is another effort to take over control and impose state control over local municipalities regarding their low-income housing and things like that. This is just evidence that this is not a partisan effort with this recall. We have the support and the endorsement of people from across the entire political spectrum, all walks of life. I say it all the time, from everybody from every culture, every ethnicity, coming together to work as one, as Californians, because we see where the state has been led. We know it's going down the wrong direction, and we need to change directions and redirect the state in a positive way.
You know, it's funny. I know we have people listening in Nashville right now. I talked to people in Nevada today. I've talked to people in Arizona who kind of bounce in and out of the state. So it's a movement of the people in the state, but the whole country is really focused on the recall of Gavin Newsom, because the reality is we have the largest state in the union that is so one-sided, that is spilling everywhere. And again, I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again before we jump to a few callers here. Anytime you have too big tech, can you say Netflix? Anytime you have too big governor, can you say the Democrats? Not the Democrats are bad, but one party has too much control. One big company gets too much control of anything. It ends badly.
Just give the people in North Korea a phone call, Mike. Ask them what they think of one-party rule.
Right.
I did.
Never good.
I couldn't get through. That's
never
look,
good.
I'd like to jump to some California folks here. Orrin, we got orders backing up a little bit. Sue from Hesperia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, it's great to hear your voice. I'm doing much better, Sue. How's the weather? How's it there? Wind blowing up in Hesperia? When I came in, it was really blasting through.
Well, it was a little rainy earlier. It caught me off guard, but I have a nice fire going, so that solved that problem.
Do you think that's the weather or the winds of change in California, Sue?
I'm not quite sure on that one.
You want to talk about the surplus, though, as I understand.
This money that appeared out of nowhere, I'm sorry, but since I was forced on unemployment, thank you, Newsom, I was supposed to get $100 a week extra because you forced me out of my job, one of my jobs, and reduced the hours to my second job. So I would like that $100 a week retroactive, because that's my money, and now you just want to pay that out to fighting this recall. That's not right. And I also wanted to add that the people that I had heard on the show prior, that Orrin was speaking to somebody who couldn't get through to unemployment, I want that person to know, and all the other people who still can't get through because it's still not easy, they need to call their senator. That's the only way I got an answer from unemployment, because I also had the battle getting through to them for the money that and that is rightfully mine. My senator had to help me through that, and that's one of the things that I want to advise the people who are forced on unemployment because of this dictator is call your senator. They'll get it done.
Who's your senator out there?
Scott Wilk.
Scott Wilk. So we have some senators that do help people again, and I want to stress that. It's time that California government as a whole, we know, stand up for a lot of people, and I don't want to paint, again, we're not painting the right and left wrong, but it's interesting. So you've got a great point. Carrie, you want to weigh in on that? How Gavin's giving her back $600, maybe, but how much a week did it cost her?
What I don't understand is, where is all this money going? We pay the highest taxes in the nation, and where is it going? I just don't understand this. And then you see that we're paying prisoners. 18,000 have been let out. I mean, how many billions of dollars a month there? I was going over, I was riding down in the car to the station with my boyfriend, and we were just going over all of them, just one after another, after another, after another of the horrible things Gavin Newsom has done to the people and this state. And if people just knew half of that list, there's so many people that don't understand what it has gone on with him. They really don't. But if just half that list were released, and we talked about it every night, we just went over it and over it. Somebody had it on one of the local stations, he'd be out. Didn't matter how much money he raised. Doesn't matter, how Netflix supports him and gives him how much money. But what I'm worried about, I'll tell you, is how do we know this is going to be an election without fraud, without cheating? How do we know that? And that worries me, really worries me.
We're actually going to address that in another segment, because Eric, in case you don't know it, is one of the main complaints on the election integrity lawsuit. And everybody out there, before we go down too far, we have callers backing up like a line at the kitchen here. But one of the things that's good to stress, you bring up a point all the time, election integrity in conjunction with Judicial Watch and folks like Eric, who's one of the main plaintiffs, have filed a proactive lawsuit that is sitting in federal court. That's something we did a show on a couple of weeks ago. That's a really good point, because we know, and let's get back to Sue here in a second, but we know that they're going to do everything that they can to make sure his cabinet gets reelected. Sue, you want to add anything before we roll to the next call here, or are we at break here? We're going to be at break time. Sue?
No, I'm still here, but it's okay. Go ahead and roll the break. I just want to thank you guys again for everything that you're doing, and we've got this. We just got to keep pushing.
Well, thank you for everything you've done, Sue. I really know you did amazing things out in your neck of the woods, and I mean that sincerely. She's one of our stars. Linda, Matthew, Carol, your table will be up soon. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry. KABC 790. Recall Gavin2020.com. All over the country.
Pandolino gatherings, just a prime example of a really big democracy.
KABC dependable traffic right now in Burbank. A crash 5.
Tim, who's Tamara?
She is the only attendee right now here on our Zoom. So thank you very much for joining.
From about Scott Road, northbound side from the
Over here?
Yes.
A little bit of an extra slow go.
Yeah, we have one attendee here so far. So thank you for joining.
Oh, that's.
There you go.
Yeah, so folks, everyone out there who will be viewing this later. So this is our pilot run right now, and we'll probably be launching this every Friday for the French Laundry. During the show, myself and probably Susan will be off camera and on mute. And then during commercial, both Susan and myself will come on camera and take ourselves off of mute, with Oren being off of mute. And we will give any questions in the chat over to Oren so he can talk about it over onto the radio show.
I better put my glasses on.
Increasing value as the purchasing
So
power of the
you got,
dollar.
Tamara, there you are. All right.
And is much easier than you think. You can have it
So
delivered.
we are generating more than usual donations tonight, which is good because our team was, we're running short on donations. We're running short on cash, where Gavin Newsom and his team are flush. They've opened the floodgates and opened their war chest to launch their attack again and their opposition against this recall campaign. So we're doing everything that we can to keep that money rolling in and make it happen. And any money, everything that goes into recallgavin2020.com goes directly to the campaign. And there are other people out there, Carl DeMaio, Travis Allen, who are drifting off into the campaign. The money that they're raising, sidebar, has nothing to do with this campaign. They're not part of the official committee or anything.
We're coming back on, Oren.
We count on your donations, and we want your donations to count. So make sure.
Welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant where it's all about California politics and the recall of Gavin. Oren, I'm not being a very polite maitre d' tonight. We got 3 backed up at the door. And Linda from Burbank, you're up next.
What's going on, Tim?
Hello. Hi, Linda. How are you doing? You want to talk about the Gascon recall?
Yeah, before I ask about that, I believe there are probably woke corporations that also probably want to give money to Newsom, and there is a website on how to boycott these woke corporations. It's consumerresearch.org.
Wow, that's really good to know. You know, I know one of the companies where I believe, I forget the Resnick, is that their name? Help me out here.
Yeah, Resnick, I believe.
Fuji Water. And if you follow Fuji Water, they're so woke, quote, end quote. They had a lot of controversies about them and how they treated the people in Fuji. But in California, they're just great people, contributed, I believe, $500,000.
They also own Fiji Water.
Fiji Water. Hey, you know what? I don't drink it, okay? And
they own Palm Wonderful and a bunch of other, anything with the wonderful name. That is Stuart and Linda Resnick. They're multi-billionaires. They're one of the largest farming families in California, if not the entire United States. And from what I understand, their farms use up more water in California than the entirety of Los Angeles and Southern California.
So, to coin the old phrase where it was don't drink the water and don't breathe the air, don't drink the water and don't watch Netflix. Linda, let's talk about Gascon a little bit here, which I know you wanted to bring up.
Okay, the question I have is 2 of them. The first one is I have a friend who's going to be moving out of California in July. Now, let's say I circulate a Gascon petition. Let's say I circulate it like within the following week or like this month, or maybe even June. Would her signature still count?
It counts if she stays registered in California, okay? So it's important that when she signs it, she's registered in California, he or she. And also that when they go to validate and verify it, which will be in about probably 160 to 180 days after that kicks off, that person is still on the California rolls.
She won't be on by then, but wouldn't it show the last time she voted or she was a resident in California?
It actually falls on, were they a registered voter in California at the time they signed the petition?
That's correct. However, remember that this particular one you're talking about is all in the Board of Registers in LA County. Okay, so point is, here's the thing I'm going to tell you, Linda, and thank you for your call, by the way. Have that person sign. Look, when you do a recall, we told people about the Gavin Newsom recall, when we talk about free speech, don't sign. Sign. If you feel there's an initiative or you feel there's a recall, you sign, okay? Let the system work it out later. But the problem is with many of these things and not that you are or your friend is, we're too timid about the details. Let's let that Board of Registers do their job, have that person sign. Linda, any other questions on that before we go to our next guest?
So her signature will count?
It should count, but the thing is, have that person sign, let the Board of Registers so that it should count.
You've just heard from the experts, Linda.
The fact is, it won't count. It won't count if she doesn't sign. And
good point.
You can't catch a fish if your hook's not in the water.
There you go.
You had to go to the fish analogy, didn't you, Cook? Jeez. Linda, thank you very much. Does that answer your question, hopefully?
But if she still signs, but if she signs it while she's still living here, it will count,
It
right?
should count as long as she's registered absolutely in her address. And you can check on literally electronically to find that out. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Serving up next, let's do Matthew from West Hills asking if the date's been set for the recall. Matthew, how you doing?
Yeah, this is Captain Matthew here. I'm doing fantastic. I felt bad I wasn't here when you're doing the petition. I was out helping the folks in Michigan and D.C. And I'm back now. I want to get involved. Trying to figure out. I'm kind of out of the loop. I don't know when the election's being scheduled. I don't know about any of the candidates. And you might give me a heads up if Travis Allen's running. And most important to me, though, because I've helped out in some candidates, the Inland Empire. I mean, those are pretty much solidly red votes, but I'd like to know what the strategy is for the high density urban voters of LA, San Francisco, because if you don't get a chunk of those votes, it's the same thing we have the electoral college, just trying to spread out the votes over the rural states. But these conservative votes and the hysteria up there in Fresno, I mean, they've done a great deal to make this happen. But if we don't, there's millions and millions of voters there in LA, in these high urban areas. Is there a strategy to get out the vote to set up precinct captains too?
There absolutely is. And Matthew, thank you for bringing that up, because I say all the time, if we don't take LA, it just doesn't matter. We had over 350,000 signatures in Los Angeles, but we need more. Now, since you've been out of state and been off doing other good things around the country, everybody out there listening, and a lot of our own regular followers, listen, to follow our strategy, to find out what we're doing and to communicate with us, go to recallgavin2020.com and get your name on our email list so you're opted in and we can communicate with you. That's a really big deal. We have a lot of people, I'm not going to say on the air how many, but literally hundreds of thousands of folks on our opt-in list, including a volunteer form. We are ready for the next phase, but Matthew, you are absolutely correct. We need as much as we can get for not only the recall of Gavin Newsom. And remember, the candidates don't matter if we don't get enough yes votes on the recall. And for every other candidate that comes up too, right? We need to make sure that we take LA.
So true, Mike. LA County is the largest county in America. It's larger than 5 states in the union. And it is really where, if you study the statewide elections in the state, the last couple cycles, it's where Republican candidates go to die, frankly. And which is very strange, because we have over 1 million registered Republicans alone in the county of Los Angeles. I know that these folks on the other side, who I wouldn't trust as far as I could throw them, obviously are very well aware of the LA County vote, and strange things happen with the voting in this county.
And Kerry, I know too, it's not just the Republicans, but the NPPs too, that we need to get to participate. There's 6.5 million of them in the state, and a huge amount in LA County.
Very true. There's many independents and others, and me being one of them. And you've got to get the word out. People will sit back and think, oh, well, they'll do it for me, or whatever it may be. But yes, you've got to get these people activated and going. And especially in churches too. Look, churches got shut down all over the state, right? You could go to Walmart, you could go to Costco, you could go, anywhere else and be packed in, but you couldn't go to church. You couldn't, the singing thing got me. You couldn't sing. You had to eat Thanksgiving outside, whatever, we have to activate the people who were affected by this, not only just the small businesses, but also the churches and the people who depended on that for religious freedom and mental health, quite frankly. A lot of people say I couldn't go talk to my pastor. I couldn't be a part of the service that helped me so much. And I just think that if we could really reach those people and tell them how important their vote is, we wouldn't have a problem.
So Matthew, remember to sign up, recallgavin2020.com. Tell everybody you can as we unite California. Thank you, my friend, for everything you've done across the country.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Listen, we're going to be rolling towards break. Oren's going to be ringing the bell after the break because I guarantee you that people are going to help us with this fight at recallgavin2020.com. Remember, we say this all the time. If you want to keep in touch, we have to keep the radio show going, but you have to opt into our list. Everybody, I don't care if you're famous, poor, who you are, you have to stay in touch. We have to unite California, no matter where you're at. NPPs, Democrats, Republicans across the board. We have to take this state back. Because if we don't take this state back, if we don't pay attention, Gavin's selling it to Netflix, apparently, my friends. Okay? And, you know, AT&T is selling HBO, and apparently everything in Gavin's world is for sale. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry all over the country. Tennessee is listening. Florida is chiming in, up and down the coast, all the way from the international border to Oregon. Let's take our state back. RecallGavin20.com.
Any violation might kill a grandma. Why you do what you want, even pardon in law.
All right, Tim. So I see that we have Destiny from, or no.
We have Tammy from Fresno and Kim from the Rockland area.
Kim from Rockland with the Destiny Church, and very good, amazing, and we would love to have them participate with us. And actually, I have a team of volunteers that are going to be working with Kim up at the Destiny Church, and I think that they're coordinating some events as they come forward. So good to hear that Kim's listening in tonight.
She needs a time frame of the recall history from the beginning. Can you?
Oh, that would be a conversation that so we have a captive audience at the Destiny Church tonight. Yeah, so the time frame is Mike and I joined forces December 22nd, 2019, and we started to build our network and bring our executive team together and build the team throughout the state. I only have a short period of time to broadcast this out, but so from December 19th to February 13th was when we filed our first paperwork to launch the recall. It was denied because I had made a mistake on a date. We launched it again on February 20th, and then it took from February 20th to June 10th to get approved to circulate the petitions. We began circulating our petitions June 10th, and this is something that Tim and Susan can remember clearly, I'm sure. So we started circulating June 10th. November 17th was our first deadline. The courts had agreed with us that we were impacted negatively due to the COVID shutdowns and this governor's executive orders. So the courts granted us a 120-day extension, and we were able to gather signatures all the way through to March 17th. March 17th was the deadline, and we submitted no less than 2,162,000 signatures of the 1,497,000 that we needed. Does that answer the questions?
ABC SoCal weather. Wind advisory in effect. Chance of showers, lows in the
It doesn't actually, the workshop doesn't start until June 8th.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we have time.
I have a little time to answer that a little more in depth.
I was going to stop you in the beginning, but I had to actually go on to the site to find out what the date was.
Well, you know what? I gotta answer things on the fly, and that was a good practice.
You did awesome.
Traffic is coming up next, and then
so I had to go. Okay, when did we start this whole thing? Oh, that's a year that we won't get back.
No.
We have one paid employee now. One. That's it. That's all. The rest of us are all non-paid volunteers. Susan, who you see on the screen, she manages 240 administrators. How many regional managers do we have?
On the 101 freeway.
It's too late to come up with that.
We have between 20 and 27 regional managers.
Right. I have to look at the.
And
On the 101.
we have 3 state supervisors. Mike Netter's one. He's our Southern California state supervisor. And then we have the Central Valley, which is Cheryl Johansson. And then Northern California, which is Robin McCrae.
Also our,
Uh-huh.
who is Robin McCrae, who's also our.
I'm Richard Turner.
Robin McCrae is also our co-chair and a board member on the California Patriot
Oh,
Coalition.
we're coming back on the radio, guys.
Record.
Record keeper.
She's our record keeper.
California, recall Gavin Newsom.
Tim the
Tech
Tech.
LLC, DGB Ranch.
And we'll talk about Tim.
This
Yeah.
is your 5-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from recallgavin2020.com in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Owen Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant, our second hour of Friday nights at the French Laundry. If you didn't miss the first hour, I don't know what to tell you. We've got Carrie Kasem on the show with her famous lineage. We've talked about aging. We've had a great group of callers. We've talked about the surplus. And if you weren't listening the first hour, I don't know what you were doing, but I sure hope you aren't watching Netflix. Listen, Oren's going to ring the bell for us. Are you going to ring the bell, Oren? Are you going to pick us to order?
Absolutely. This is a good day. We have a full house. All right. So we have Dennis in Long Beach. Dennis, thank you very much for your generous donation going forward. We have John in Santa Rosa. Mike, we have a statewide radio broadcast. If we haven't said that already, I mean,
What, we're live across the state? This is live?
Across the state.
This is live?
It is.
I didn't know this. I thought we were taping this. Oh, my God.
Fabiola from Lake Forest, thank you for your generous donation. And we have Lewis from Fremont, California. God bless you. Thank you for your generous donation. Pia in Vista, California, thank you. And God bless. You're helping this movement go forward, and you're helping us keep the lights on for the French Laundry Show here at home.
And remember, it's 1-800-222-5222. Call and chime in about the issues of California. It's important that you keep your voice on the air along with us. We talk about a wide variety of California issues each week. They all lead to the fact that California has horrible leadership. If the buck stops at Gavin Newsom's desk, well, apparently a lot of bucks stop at Gavin Newsom's desk. Let's get real. He's given away he's taken in $226 million, but he's requested payments that have gone to his favorite charities. The list goes on. And when we talk, Carrie, about your lineage, for lack of a better term, right? I used to listen to your dad with the top 40. And I'd like to do a top 40 with Gavin Newsom, but when you go to recallGavinNewsom2020.com,
Oh, yeah.
it's almost like a top 100.
I have the top 40 right here. Like, I've been looking at this list. I cannot tell you. It's horrific.
Nice.
I mean, it's just really horrific. If you want me to count down my top 10, starting with.
Hey, so first of all, I just want to say that Mike listened in to your dad with the top 40 a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's put it this way. It was an AM radio in a car, and FM didn't stand for frequency modulation back then. But that's a story for another day, as I like to say.
Another time, another day. I'm not much younger than he is, so I don't know.
Oh, yes, you are.
I don't think so. But yeah, so I have, now I can't even get into it. I can, hold on. We have to open it up again.
That's okay. Why are you doing that? To tell you what, let's talk to Dave from Pasadena here, who says his Democratic Center won't help a blank, but we know that's damn. Not that I could say that on the air. Dave, talk to me.
Yeah, well, there's a state representative in Pasadena named Tom Holden. He's been there for years. He used to be mayor. Pasadena. Anyway, my point was, if you dig a ditch and you get paid $100, the money's taxed. But if you take that $100 after it's taxed and you buy an annuity, the state of California wants to tax it again at 2.25%. So I wrote Tom Holden. I says, why am I being taxed on money that's already been taxed? No response. I've called his office. No response. I've sent at least 2 letters and made several phone calls. Unless, because it doesn't go along the lines of the Democratic agenda, they don't respond to you. So I don't have a representative.
That's a great point. Isn't it fascinating? I've heard this from lots of different channels. In fact, there's literally is a school for foster children that is being shut down by the Democrats in San Pasqual, California, outside of San Diego. They take care of 110 foster kids. The state is shutting it down. To your point, Dave, they could get no response from Gavin Newsom or Nathan Fletcher there. You at least think they would open up a dialogue, but Dave, you're not even getting an echo chamber, right?
That's correct. Let me just, as a review, about 30 years ago, there was Alan Cranston used to be a United States Senator, and he's a Democrat.
Yeah, I remember that in the top 40. Yep.
I complained about an issue once to him. He wrote me back with a very long letter, and it was his own letter as well, because he was representing me, although he disagreed with me. But at least he responded to me. This Tom Holden in Pasadena, his office will not respond unless you have a Democratic idea.
Or maybe if you have enough money to contribute to his campaign. What do you think, Dave?
Well, he'd be glad to talk to me then, wouldn't he?
Yeah. It's really
Dave, I just want to weigh in real quick and say that this is exactly why we are doing what we're doing. The people of California have been the underdog far too long. And this government is no longer representative or accountable to the people they serve. And the people are rising up, and we're taking action where the parties and the politicians have let us down. And God bless you for calling in for that. And Mike, just touching back on one of your other earlier monologues, the buck doesn't stop on Gavin's desk. It flows from his desk.
Interesting. Well, they flow in from his desk, bucks flow in his desk, and he hands them out, it seems. And you know, Dave, thank you very much for calling. We appreciate it, brother. We like being the people's voice. We really, really do. Eric, you had a point when we were on break. I think that's interesting that Dave can't get an answer from his senator. There's articles we're going to talk about here in a bit. We'll let you do your top 40 after our break, Carrie, a little bit, or top 10 of the top 40.
Yeah, that's the top 10. We'll go with the
that's
top
okay.
10.
We don't have that kind of time.
Right.
We can't afford that kind of time. But you bring up an interesting point, Eric, how the press, which is even supposed to be kind of at least the neutral voice of the people, it's an echo chamber, I believe is the word you used.
Well, yeah, that's one of the big concerns I have, in addition to, as one of the prior callers talked about, the vote counting and how that's working. I'm very concerned about that. But also, there really is an echo chamber out there. And there are so many people in California that are only hearing, and it's hard to believe for people like us, but they only hear good things about Gavin Newsom. They never hear anything bad about Gavin Newsom. They only hear that he's like this perfect, great governor. And so when they hear about the recall, when you try and talk to them about it, it's like you're talking to somebody with a blank stare. And it's remarkable to me how there are major forms of media, major forms of social media, the whole thing, where they are doing their best to just completely limit the flow of information that people are having as part of their effort to make sure that this character Newsom can overcome the recall.
You know, it's also interesting too, even when the LA Times, yes, you heard correctly, comes out with stories on behested payments, or the payment the story we're going to talk about later that was in Cal Matters about the nursing home that we discussed before, it's barely a blip on the radar with the press.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have to protect Gavin at all costs.
Don't you know we're living in China? Did you forget? I mean, seriously, I lived in Singapore. I lived in the Asian countries. I was in China. This is what they do. They only feed you what they want you to hear.
Exactly.
That is communism. I don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican or whatever. I really don't. Hear me. This is very communistic. I lived in communist countries. For people to just allow the media to continue with a one-sided, first of all, They don't even let debates on anymore. Why can't
Exactly right.
you are too stupid to hear both sides and figure it out for yourself? What happened to that? That's what America is. We want both sides of the COVID issue. We want both sides of the California issue. We want all sides.
Let people make their own minds up, but they won't let people hear enough to make up their own minds.
That's right.
And it's, you talked about a debate. Last time when Newsom ran against Cox for governor, there was not a televised debate. This is one of the largest economies on the planet, California. It was some stupid radio debate that nobody even knew existed for the governor of California. And not one voice in the media raised any kind of issue with that whatsoever.
And Eric, how the hell did CAGOP allow that to happen?
Great question.
I have no idea.
That is
How
a
does
great
the
question.
CAGOP not do anything, I think is the best word, and I'm going to say that right now in the air. It's the people of California. Look, everybody, we call Gavin Newsom as we go to break. We call Gavin2020.com. It's not Republican-led. There are Republicans in it. There's Democrats in it. People that have a lot of people who have lived through communism in different countries and understand where this state is going. Gavin Newsom, I'm going to tell you right now, if you got something to say against Orrin or myself or anybody who's involved in recall, then you're feel free anytime. Bring it on to call in this
There's
radio
an extra
show.
seat in the studio for him.
Quit hiding behind the press.
Come on down,
Quit
Kendall.
hiding behind Zoom, talking in empty Dodger stadiums. It's time the people of California had a voice, which is why we say we have to keep this going. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, your voice of the people, 790 KABC. RecallGavin2020.com. Keep it going.
Don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Borders can't be.
KABC Dependable Traffic.
Hey, Orrin,
Yeah.
it looks like there's a petition going around signed by district attorney's offices against this release of the 73,000 inmates.
There are 41 district attorneys who have signed the petition.
Being indicated on the 405.
Even our Nevada County DA signed it. I'm shocked.
Well, I want to know who the 17 are who didn't. That's my problem.
Well, let's see if I can find out who signed it. Sacramento signed it. Nevada County signed it.
And you know what? That would be a great question for Eric Early.
Yeah. So Sacramento signed it. Alpine, Del Norte, El Dorado, Amador, Butte, Fresno, Glen, Calaveras, Colusa, Humboldt. I mean, what I need to do is go see which ones have not, huh? I need to list all these counties.
Yep.
All right. Wow.
But that's something that I will pose to Eric as we go forward. You're absolutely right. 41 district attorneys signed a pact that object to the release of the 76,000 inmates that Governor Newsom is going to release prematurely. And these are not your run-of-the-day ordinary inmates. These are hardened criminals. 20,000 of them are on death row or life without parole, serving life without parole. The reason they're serving a sentence of life without parole is because the judiciary system, the juries that found them guilty, and society has come together and said, these people have committed such a heinous crime, committed multiple murders and heinous crimes, that they should never walk among us again.
Okay, I'm gonna make a list and figure out which
Welcome
ones.
back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant, Friday next to the French Laundry. Magdalena, I'm going to roll first to you because I want you to work with Carrie a little bit and listen as she calls the top 10 reasons to kind of honor of the top 40, if you will. Just
Carrie, are you there?
I am.
Carrie, I love you and your dad.
Oh,
I remember growing up
and listening to him all the time. I used to live for American Top 40 every week.
Oh, that is awesome. I love hearing that. I love it.
And I'm Magdalena Reed, call radio, other radio station here, everybody, and you'll be on that soon. Hey, listen, I miss Randy. Carrie, I'm glad you're there. Love you. So, Mike, what do you want me to do? I'm yours.
I want you to listen to Carrie's top 10, and when she gets through, just for a couple seconds, tell us how that top 10 applies to San Francisco. It'll probably be the entire top 10, but kind of in honor of radio days gone past. Yes, I was a wee lad. Yes, we had a hamster on the generator, and the cars were powered by, well, I'm not sure what the cars were.
You are not old. I don't know what you're saying.
I literally had rolled down
if you're old,
windows.
we're in trouble.
Like I saw that picture of you with the crank on the front of the car, turning the car.
That's absolutely right.
And, that was pretty cool.
We were so poor, we had to take that same crank just to roll down the window.
We had 2 6-year conditioning, which meant 60 miles an hour, literally, and your car was rolled down.
Man.
But let's roll back to you, all puns intended.
Okay, wait.
I'm waiting, Carrie.
So I have to say this because my dad did do the top 40, but he also had a TV show, America's Top 10. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, so I'm going to go off
I remember
that. I'm going to do America's Top 5 because we're not going to go through. I mean, there's so many. It's crazy. But here you go.
You got that right, sweetheart.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so what I cannot believe, this one got me. I was in downtown LA. And I was at my friend's, illegally at my friend's house, checking on her. And she lives right across from Staples Center. What was there? In like 20 stories high, a massive billboard that said, if you see something, say something. You can't say George Orwell 1984 any louder, right? Any louder.
Yes.
This maniac, excuse me, I shouldn't call anybody names. I don't like it when, you know.
Oh, Gavin calls us names.
I know, but it's
You're
rude.
on the show,
It's
so we
rude.
Blame it on us.
It's rude. I actually shouldn't. And look, I do not agree with him. But name calling is wrong.
It's okay, love.
Okay, so 80 million on billboard education to remind people to social distance and tell on your neighbors. Are you kidding me?
Whoa. That is straight out of
that's
downtown
amazing,
Beijing.
and I forgot about that. Magali, I'm going to dwell on that for 1 second because he only spent $15 million for operations to study Alzheimer's disease, yet $80 million on billboards.
Right.
I mean, now.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Of course not. You just Mike.
Yeah, but I got a question for you. How much you want to bet that billboard provider maybe knows somebody who knows somebody in the kitchen who knows Gavin Newsom, huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I agree. I
I
agree.
can
You
see
know
why
what?
you
I
don't
want to
want
say
to
something
do
about
that.
Alzheimer's. No, I'm going to say something about Alzheimer's. First of all, that's another, thing that my father died of dementia. My uncle has dementia. My grandfather died of dementia, all different kinds of dementias, right? But Alzheimer's, they've studied this over and over again. My friend runs a memory clinic in Visalia. What does she do? She gives them all coconut oil, cold pressed coconut, like scoops of it every day and cooks with it. And their memories get better. Why? I can explain it to you if you want. If you want to find me on my social media, Carrie Kasem, anywhere, ask me. I answer all of my mail. Find me on Instagram if you can, Facebook as well. I will send you a video. Thank you. I will send you a video.
Spell that for the audience.
Carrie Kasem, Kerri, Kasem, Kasem, like Mary, Carrie Kasem. Find me. I'll send you this video of a doctor who, you can't say cured, but who fixed her husband's Alzheimer's. He couldn't do the clock test. He couldn't remember things. And you see him not being able to remember. And then he can tell you what it was like not to remember because he got his memory back.
And what exactly do you do with the coconut?
You take, I'll send you the video. It's the easiest thing. You take a scoop of coconut oil, you cook with coconut oil, you eat it. There is an actual pill that you can take that has whatever is in the coconut oil that helps with your brain, but it would cost like $1,000 a pill.
Good to know. And remember, it's Carrie with a K. I literally am so old, the K wasn't invented.
Oh, I'll send
Mike,
you
I'll be buying you some of that coconut oil.
Probably need that. Carrie,
but I'll send you the video. I will send you this video with a whole news story on it.
Let's go to a couple more reasons here before we roll out of time and can roll the orange.
Okay, and it only helps with Alzheimer's, not other dementias. Sorry, folks.
Understand.
Okay. We have the highest homeless rate in our nation.
San Francisco.
Yeah, my boyfriend's from San Francisco. Yeah, we know all about this. The Needles, the homeless. I mean, it is horrific, right? Kids stepping over dirty needles on the streets. Okay. Infringements of our Second Amendment rights. Okay, I'm a little person, right? And Magdalena, I don't know how tall or big you are, but anybody, a larger woman could come break into my house and I'd be done, right? A man breaking into my house who wanted to do whether, violent acts or just steal from me, I don't know. Somebody breaks in, I don't have a chance, but I do with my weapon, which I keep by my bed, because that is the only thing that would stop an intruder. It's not 100% foolproof, but do I know how to use it? You're right, I do. Yeah, I do. And I've been shooting since I was 12. So this is for my protection. And I can't carry it in my car. I cannot protect myself in the state of California. So, but the fact that this man is, really trying to destroy our Second Amendment rights and countless new gun and ammo laws where you can't even find it anymore, right? So am I on
We've had
3?
3 homicides in the weekend here in San Francisco, 3 in a weekend.
It's
Well,
awful.
he gets you coming and
It's
going. They've completely undermined law enforcement. Down here we had this spineless mayor defund police $150 million, and then at the same time they want to take away your ability to protect yourself.
That's right.
When it's
You
I don't
take,
know what these crazies are
you
thinking.
take the guns away from the good people, you get more crime. It is a statistic that is in every single state. The states that have the gun laws have less crime. It is common sense, but we are lacking so much common sense these days, and it's terrifying.
And Carrie, I can't let that point go by without a rant from our head chef, who is a retired police officer. Oren, weigh in on that. I know you want to. I can see it in your eyes. No, it's like,
whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not.
Carrie, it's a felony to possess a club. It's a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor to possess a loaded pistol. And, those in my profession have always said, I would rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
That's right. That. Can you say that again?
I would rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
Great.
Right.
Okay?
That's great.
So the Second Amendment stands tall, and we stand behind it. We need to protect it with everything we have as a society, because it is the only thing between us and a totalitarian government, and that is what they are most afraid of.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Amen. And this is one that I can't believe.
In this day and age of more and more tyrannical rule, we need our Second Amendment rights more than just about any time I can
You got
remember.
that one right. Let's see, release all those prisoners lately.
I think I may have been taken off of Facebook by saying that the Second Amendment was created to protect the electoral college.
Yeah, it's funny because they started on the second.
That's pretty
Then
cool.
they worked their way backwards to the first, freedom of speech. But go ahead and go to your
Okay, I have 2 more.
2 more.
So 2 more.
I'm waiting.
Okay. We're gonna give it to you. Let's see. This one, I can't believe I don't even know what to say, but no longer illegal not to help an officer in need. I don't care if you're an officer.
Gavin Newsom's executive order, God bless him, that is the posse comitatus law, and from the 1800s, it has always been a requirement that if a law enforcement officer is in need, you had a duty to help him, or if you could. And that's a shame that he felt it necessary to overturn that law, and that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and I don't even understand the reasoning behind that. I mean,
he is pandering to a certain cultural element, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
No, and I understand the logic behind it from his point of view.
I don't understand.
No.
the logic.
What I mean is from his point of view, the pandering for it. As a human being, expletive deleted. Thank you, KABC. I don't understand it at all. I mean, logic or otherwise, how would you not, in either the streets of San Francisco, streets of Los Angeles, especially help somebody who defends us against crime? It makes absolutely, I mean, and we're not talking get out there and go after the bad guys. We're just talking about helping an officer who is injured.
I mean, helping anyone who is injured in a car accident, a street fight, whatever it may be. I don't care if you're an officer or a civilian. You help people.
That executive order is just shocking.
It's a long line.
And that's got to be one of the
Okay, I have
first
one
that
more.
gets overturned when
Let's
we
let her
get
get to
that
the
clown
next
out of
one. We're
office.
gonna go to
Thank you.
Go right
Okay, so because I am an advocate and I have, created Kasem Cares, which passes bills across the country to curb elder abuse. This was the most heinous for me and what I watched California and New York do, and that's kill the elderly by putting COVID positive elderly with the most vulnerable in nursing homes. It is sickening. It's like knowing you're giving people a death sentence. I thought every death mattered, but now you're actually killing people and knowing you're going to kill people.
Let's get real. I'm gonna one second.
It is murder.
It is murder, and I'm gonna rant on that one because my dad died in one of his homes too, and this has been going on for 30 to 40 to 50 years in California, where we can regulate an alcohol license at a 7-Eleven, but we cannot regulate our nursing homes. And we're going to talk about that story after the break. Magdalena, thank you very much. The music's starting. I believe we're going to be rolling to break here pretty quick.
Bye, Magdalena. Bye.
But it is
Bye, Magdalena.
honey.
These issues bubble to the surface, and you out there in the press, instead of reporting on the fellows in the recall, start reporting on the issues which affect all Californians, not just because they're voting. The aged are important. I can tell you I'm one of them. It's Friday night for the French Laundry everywhere, up and down the coast, all over the country. KABC, recall Gavin2020.com. Make Orrin work and ring that bell.
Prime example of a really big hypocrisy. You don't understand.
AM 790.
Are we here?
News at 8:30. I'm Sharon Reardon. Good evening. U.S. Capitol Police Union says dozens of officers.
Yes, we are here.
Since the January 6th attack at the Capitol.
It's working.
Yes.
Rank and file officers resigned for retirement.
Very good.
A criminal case against Democrats.
Oh my goodness, this is a long 2 hours. Yeah, I'm going to take my tie off, I think.
Go for it.
I need to loosen up just a little bit.
Okay, Orrin, I've made a list of the counties that have not backed this, have not opposed the release.
Wow. What do we got?
So we have Alameda County, Contra Costa County, Inyo County,
officials say they plan to return
LA, of course,
their decision,
Mendocino, Merced, and Modoc.
Social distancing requirements.
San Francisco.
Yeah. What happened?
That's when the
Oh,
economy.
Mike is saying Bianca is all yours.
Yep. San Francisco and San Joaquin,
will go on
Santa Cruz,
the
Santa Clara, Sonoma.
What is our friend Bianca saying tonight?
I'm not certain, but Mike is passing the call to you tonight.
Is she calling in?
Looks like she is.
How can you tell?
Top 10,
Mike
five
is-
largest.
Mike is
Actually,
typing in the chat.
it was 4 homicides.
Currently, it's 61 degrees in Orange,
Don't know.
64 in
How can you tell,
Don't
Tim?
know right now.
Mike is typing in the chat.
KABC.com has news stories written with you in mind, plus great exclusive podcasts.
Must be to Warren, Bianca is all yours, but
Get ready to dump the chat.
Friday nights
Okay.
French Laundry.
Tune into Gerby Law, the up close and personal interview show at its new.
Well, we only have one
guys know-
attendee right now in the chat.
are we being recorded right now?
Yeah, we're live too on Facebook.
We're live, we're being recorded, and so you guys know that you have executive authority to, you have to be the producers. If something goes awry, you've got to cut it, stop it,
Yes.
delete it. Not that we would ever have to do that.
Right.
And I'll occasionally put you on mute.
Thank you. It was comforting to look up and go, oh, good, he muted me first. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
I've got to figure out something to do with the glare from my glasses, though.
going with that cone zone being set
So
up.
I don't have lighting here. This isn't, I have a brand new studio being built as we speak, and I'm gonna be excited to move into the new studio. So
Very nice.
my wife had surgery today and she was up on the couch right ahead of me in the house, and she got sick and tired of hearing me on the call. So she packed her stuff up and hobbled upstairs to my daughter's room.
See, this was just a sample, Orrin.
Business Bureau and founders.
Oh, hold on.
Sites like Trustpilot and Best Company, they can settle your
Nice. Is that so? Is that that's not sewn on? That's
you can afford and zero upfront.
How'd you put it on there?
It's
281
it's a vinyl,
800 281
A vinyl sticker.
81.
pretty much.
Or
Animal Radio.
Yeah.
cool.
We'll be talking about
I like it.
First chance I've gotten since I got involved with the recall. I'm gonna make one for Tim now.
There you go.
Most of my t-shirts
AABC.
for men are extra large, and I've done a lot for women.
Dan Bongino moves to mornings.
I can make
Nice.
them if anybody wants one.
controversy. How hard
What?
Anything else?
Say what?
I can make t-shirts for whatever anybody wants.
Oh boy. Well, don't say that too loud.
Oh, we're back on.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the
Here we
menu
go.
tonight, A Better California with Executive Chef Orrin Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
And as you probably noticed tonight, Orrin and I are accompanied by Eric Early doing a number of tasks, and Carrie Kasem. We are cooking up a better California, but we're doing it with the people of California. Before we get to one of our callers here, I want to, Eric, you talked earlier about how the press is kind of an echo chamber. This is a story which hits true to me. We report on a couple weeks. Stories kind of come and go. It's amazing how the press will report 14 times. Gavin's giving $600 to everybody. How exciting is that? We don't know when it's happening. We don't know exactly how, but let's just do 72 stories on it. But let's only talk once about this. Death and neglect inside a troubled California nursing home chain. A nursing home in Glendale, there's 9 of these. This was not only a donor to Gavin Newsom, we returned the money after the story went or gave it to a charity, but she has a picture of herself with Gavin Newsom. Carrie, I know.
Crystal Solorzano.
Yes, thank you. You know I am with names. But the reality is, Carrie, talk about this.
And by the way, Crystal Solorzano is not only a elderly care home owner and donor to Gavin Newsom, she is also an extreme anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, it's a good point, which is really handy when you've got COVID patients in a nursing home. I mean, the reality is that our nursing, we have 100,000 people in nursing homes that don't seem to have a voice. It's my opinion that Gavin is only like doing this thing on aging that he's throwing a few bucks at because those of us over 60 are becoming, more prominent voters. But Carrie, talk a little bit about that, because I know for you and me, that's kind of a pet issue with us.
Yeah, and I just have to say about vaccinations for me and my personal, I got vaccinated in 2007 with a tetanus shot, and I ended up in the hospital, and my health went so far downhill. I had to take a year off of work to get treatment for it. It was so bad. So I don't know. Look, I don't not believe in vaccines, and if I got bit by a rabid dog, I would take the vaccine, right? But I just have seen some horrible things, so I go back and forth on that, and so I would never fault somebody for not wanting to take a vaccine or wanting to take a vaccine. It's your body, your choice. I believe that completely, only because of what happened to me, and it was devastating to me. So I have to say that. So what's happening in these homes, in some of them, I mean, it's atrocities. I've had people write me about their mom not getting care. They couldn't go in because there's a guardian. And if people don't know what a guardian is, it's somebody who can come and take your mom, take your dad, okayed by the court. You have nothing to say about it, even though you are supposed to contact family members first. They will come and take mom or dad, put them in a subpar facility, and then if you complain about it, they will shut off all of your visitation. Now, not every guardian does that. There are some good ones out there, but who I deal with are the most atrocious people that I have ever had to face on earth. They're disgusting. And they've left people in their own feces. They've left people with broken bones. I had one person call me, say, my mom's got a broken hip. They won't take her to the hospital. My mom has bed sores all over her. I can't get her out to take her to hospital. They won't do anything about it. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I am hearing. They are dying in literally their skin is falling off of them, or their bones are broken and they're suffering. And these are people that we need to help. And it's not happening. And when I saw not only the isolation of these poor people because of COVID, which I understand to a certain degree, but then to stick COVID positive patients in with these healthy or seemingly healthy elderly is what you called, Oren, murder. It's murder. And your dad was in a home, Mike, and I fight every single day. I work on bills every single day that will make it better for them, because we all could end up there, every single one of us.
Let me tell you something. My dad and mom, and if this streams to heaven, they'll hear that now, but my dad was in a home and died in a home. And within 30 days after, that home was shut down for malfeasance, even though I did complain about the state. Yeah. This was in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, right? And never told my mom about it because I didn't want to upset her. This has been going on for years. And literally in California, there's no one to talk to. Going back to this story here, Crystal Solorzano, however you say that, Oren, she owns and or is affiliated with 26 facilities throughout the state. The licensing in California and the oversight for these homes is almost non-existent. Yet that was one of Gavin's promises when he went into office. So, great, King Gavin, you're going to reopen the restaurants now that we're calling you out for recalling you. But the reality is, and thanks a lot for the $5 million for a master plan for aging, $5 million. If allegedly you have I want you to put this in perspective. If allegedly you have a $72 million surplus, and a huge amount of our population, whether you like it or not, all facetiousness put aside, is going to end up or could end up in a facility like this. Really, Gavin? You're worried about gas-powered cars in 2035. You're not worried about the things which affect us now, but if you really are worried about something which affects us all in the future, we're all going to get older, to your point, Gary.
That's right. So let's stop with the $80 million on billboards that keep people separated and telling on each other. And why don't we reallocate that to people who actually need it, who've lost their businesses, who are sick, who are older or elderly? Why are we not giving it? Oh, that makes too much sense. It makes sense, and it's not going to get passed.
Mm-hmm. And Eric, I'm going to roll to you here too, because of all the things we talk about. It's amazing to me that neither Xavier Becerra, the X-Man, who of course should have been watching over the elderly care, but went on to Washington to watch over all care in the United States. Now with the new Attorney General that we have, not a single investigation or lawsuit, no matter how many articles are in even the LA Times about this, has been opened.
Well, we have had a series of attorney generals in this state, certainly the last three. We have the present guy, I called him a stooge for Newsom. He's purely a stooge. He's been in office about 2 months. He doesn't know his what from his elbow, frankly. He's just there to provide cover for this corrupt governor. Then before him, we had the guy that Biden calls Javier Baccaria, whose name is Javier Becerra. Becerra has politicized the office completely, like every single thing he touches, a political hack. He never should have been in that office. He didn't investigate any of this stuff. He was there to further his career and, again, provide cover for whoever in his party needed to have cover provided for them. And guess who was the attorney general before Baccaria? The vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris. who was a disaster in every single respect. So we have had the top law enforcement officer of the state, top legal officer of the state, the attorney general, just completely gone, empty for years and years now. And so many things need to be investigated, looked into, people prosecuted. And, you were just touching on one of those very important things. We have to take care of our elderly. Mike, you're like knocking on the door there. We got to take care of the elderly.
Yeah,
and this
is
is
by the way, I
incredible.
want to be clear, I'm the oldest one of all the hosts here, and it is all about me.
Oh,
but
man.
seriously, the reality is we need to do something about this. Oren, I hear the ring. I want to roll you with the bell real quickly here, and then roll to, or maybe you could talk to our caller Bianca here before we roll the break in about 60 seconds, about 2 minutes actually.
Absolutely. Okay, and thank you so much. So we have Helena from Avalon, California. Thank you so much for your donation. We're going to roll through these really quick. Tim from Victorville. Joseph from Hermosa Beach. And then we have four more. We have Matthew from Saratoga, California. We have a statewide show, Mike. We're reaching far and wide. Betsy from Carmichael, California. Carmichael just happens to be the seat of Karen, who launched her lawsuit against us today. And then we have Dean from Los Alamitos. And Dean, God bless, I talked to you earlier today, and if you're still listening to the show, thank you so much. And really, thank you. That was a very generous donation, and we really appreciate that. It's going to go a long way to help us keep the lights on. And our last donation for now, Sheldon from San Diego, California, down there in the Southland. Thank you so much for your help.
Oren, talk to our next caller, Bianca, who's calling in from San Francisco.
Bianca, our friend from the West. How you doing, our friend?
Hi there. Hi, everybody. Bianca Von Krieg, Bianca for SanFrancisco.org. I've heard a lot of good points today. So the one thing that stuck to me was the nursing home thing that Carrie brought up, and the posse comitatus thing. This all ties in with my agenda of just building a great society, or Roosevelt's New Deal for the country. And the thing is that we're not trying to tax the middle class. We're not trying to tax the lower class, and maybe even not most of the upper class. We're trying to tax like the uber billionaires. It's basically, if you're worth less than 9 digits, if your net worth is 9 digits, you're not on our radar. We're trying to fix all of that stuff. We're trying to make.
Do me a favor. There are people listening tonight that they aren't familiar with who you are or what bent you're from as far as your political leaning. So if you could give us, a 10-second update on where you come from, your political beliefs, and where we're going with what you're talking about. Who is we when you say we're?
Uh-huh. Right. That great point, Oren. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I'm actually running for Pelosi's seat here in San Francisco.
Now that you said, hold on, Bianca. Now that you said that,
okay.
As Mike and I are the chair of the Recall Gavin movement, and this does fund this show, we cannot endorse or support any political candidate for any position. Okay, so just that being said, I just want people to know where you come from as far as your political stance, not your political ambition.
Bianca, we're going to roll the break here, but I want to tell you something. Bianca is a former Bernie Sanders supporter. She's done a lot.
Still supporter.
All right, no problem. The point is that our movement has brought people from all walks together. We share in common taking the state back. And Bianca, before we roll the break, I want to tell you, I love what you said, because I sure wished that Mr. Hastings at Netflix would have all his money taxed and have no money left to support Gavin Newsom against the recall. Thank you, Bianca. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Hold on. Hold on, Bianca. We are up against hard breaks and we are short on time. So next week, we want you to call back in. Let's revisit where we left off. Okay. I don't want to cut you short.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Just posse comitatus ties in with everything. Like, we want to help everybody. If somebody is lying on the street and they're hurt, it's Christian of us to help them. If you're not presently there, if you're across the country, they can help, just like we did with New Orleans, during the hurricanes. You can send money, you can send aid. We'll bring the power of what is America to help those who can't help themselves. And that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
God
Okay,
bless.
we're rolling
Bianca,
the break
thank
here
you
right
so
now.
much.
Thank you, Bianca. We look forward to talking to you soon. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC. Stay tuned. Come back. Our final segment. We're going to do a quick round table. If we didn't get to your call tonight, I apologize, but we have just a few minutes left. Recall Gavin2020.com.
For your foie gras donated. Sir, we saw you at a party.
It wasn't me.
Eating at the French Laundry.
KABC dependable traffic right now on the 5 freeway northbound at Valencia Boulevard. A crash.
Rock and roll. Are we there?
Yeah, we're doing good still.
Looks like.
Awesome.
Often on extra.
Seems successful so far, no?
Yeah.
Some airport traffic southbound.
Both of our attendees right now have dropped out. As we're still rolling live on Facebook with multiple shares.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to always be the star of the after show.
Well, I mean, right now, we're here to give you talking points when there's more attendees. So next week, we will make an announcement about it with a live link on how they can join in.
Okay. Sounds good. And thank you everybody for joining in. This is a test run of our Friday nights at the French Laundry. We're merging technologies today. And thank you, Tim, for all of your help. Tim has found a workaround to get past the radio delay and things like that to bring this out to our Facebook groups and our Zoom link live. And this is really a move forward for our movement, and actually for everything, in this realm of radio versus podcast. So we're bringing these two together. We found a workaround that we're able to work with, and so far it's working really well, and we appreciate everybody's patience and their understanding as we move forward.
Yeah, so we have 3 people on a radio station right now in Los Angeles. Oren, he's over in the Sacramento area, and Miss Susan Hurd is a little bit east of that. So we found a way to mingle all 3 together in a wonderful little marriage here to make this happen. And I'm actually keeping my ear out for when commercial's over. And we're back on.
Well, welcome back to
there we go.
A pretty good show here. Listen, we have literally 8 minutes of showtime left. 4 people in the restaurant, and I want to roll through each of us to give 2 minutes to kind of wrap it up. Remember, everybody out there, it's about California. Eric, you're going to go first. Give us your 2-minute wrap up of what you think tonight.
Well, this is one of my refrains that I say at the end of these shows. And again, I, along with millions of Californians, thank you, Mike Netter, you, Warren Heatley, Robin, Dan, and thousands of volunteers, because you did really almost the impossible. You've given millions of people hope. And hope is a hard thing to give to people, especially in these nearly hopeless times that we've lived through in California. So God bless all of you. God bless everybody that supported this recall. And, we're all traveling on wings of angels here. So thank you so much, guys. And thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, Eric. We love having you on in your hard-hitting style. Oren, I'm going to roll you next because I want to give the youngest person on the show one of the last words before the oldest person speaks last.
I just want to say that there's only one person in there
who doesn't have a face that's made for radio, and that's Carrie. And Carrie, thank you so much.
That was so very kind.
I'll second that. Mhm, definitely.
So, with that said, folks, we are up against, immense odds. The people of California are standing up. We have to come together. We have to unite. We have to pull resources. We have to gel as one in order to secure a future that we can all live with in California. And that's what we're working towards. And we all know that this is a hinging point in California politics. It can go either way. And we need your help. We need your support. You can donate at recallgavin2020.com. We have one paid employee right now. That's it. And, the opposition has opened their war chest, and they've launched attacks against the recall. They've launched personal attacks against me and Mike and other people involved in the recall. And we need your support to help push this thing forward and to make it happen. So God bless everybody, and thank you so much. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Carrie. And I really appreciate you coming in, and we hope to have you again in the studio. But when I come down, you're in my chair.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll move and you can have it.
Lauren, when you come down and she's in studio, you're moving.
No.
You know what?
We got 4 minutes to go. Carrie, go ahead.
The real estate value of KABC just went up.
They got that. Carrie, you got 2 minutes before I roll the engine.
I'm just saying California is worth saving. It really is. And the only way we're going to do that is to get new people up in Sacramento. Look, I tried to get a bill passed years ago, and it's games up there, games. I had it with a Democrat, Mike Gatto, who I just adore and think he's incredible. And we had, literally opposition for a bill that lets you see your parents. That was it. It was just a visitation bill. And the games they play, I remember he didn't push through another senator's bill. He put it on hold. So guess what? Our bill was getting so much attention, so much media, that this one lady put that bill on hold. And I watched the games up there, and they're being played, and they're worse than this. They don't care, because if they would have cared, they would not have let all those elderly people die without visitation from their sons and daughters. They don't care. It's time to get people out of Sacramento and put in people who actually care. That's for here and Washington, D.C. I'm going to stay in California and really try and rescue California. And if it doesn't happen, I will leave. But I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it my all.
We need a whole new generation of leaders in the state.
Yes.
It is absolutely nauseating. You bring up a really good point that there are so many people, and Orrin and I have heard these stories in the recall over the last year of the number of people, not only that couldn't see their elderly parents, that could not see their disabled offspring that were in some homes. Literally people either that had Alzheimer's or, ones that were autistic or whatever who didn't. Look, Gavin Newsom, pay attention to the people of California. Quit paying attention to the rich interests that are out there. If you really want to know why over 2.1 million people signed the recall, and let me tell you something, it wasn't just because of the extension. It was simply because we could not get out there fast enough. And for those of you out there trying to challenge us in court, let me tell you something. We have the people of California, and Mr. Hastings with Netflix, you can make it so you're not going to put a documentary doing on your channel. We're going to get it out there. We at Recall, Gavin2020.com, are indeed the voice of the people across all diversity, all ethnicity, us literally across the state, Democrats, Republicans, independents. We want balance. And again, we want to have this conversation about issues from aging, issues about taxes, issue about our roads. Gavin, let me tell you something. You are not going to solve by simply spending the problems of the state by simply throwing random alleged surplus money around.
Alleged.
Giving everybody $600 million, picking an attorney general, picking a secretary of state, getting our rights a way to speak. Friday nights at the French Laundry is the voice of the people. RecallGavin2020.com is the people taking action. We are going to continue to take action until this state at least gets some balance in it. And let me tell you, Gavin, if you want to know who your opponent is in this recall election, go to the nearest mirror. Because look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, are you really doing a good job that is for the people of California? Or are you simply, as is coming out as with Mr. Hastings contributing today, just paying attention to the special interest? We, the people, know the answer. We, the people, are going to continue to push back to take back our state, because I've lived here a long time, longer than most of you, and I ain't moving. Orrin's not moving. Kerry's not moving. Eric's not moving. We stay here and we stand with you because we're all California.
Buddy.
We are taking it back. God bless you all. Orrin, thank you very much. Give us one final ring without naming off. We don't have the time. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry. KABC. Tune in next week. KABC 790. RecallGavin2020.com. Let's take our state back, California.
All right. Voter came in and they call me red-handed, eating at the place next door.
Were there a lot of people there?
Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 piece or more.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020, number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prop 39 LLC, DGB Ranch.